Wonderful. Thank you, Pat, for taking us on a journey like that's gonna probably be interwoven in my dreams tonight. You know, all of those archetypal images and the emotions attached to that. It's really beautiful and something I think we'll all kind of carry with us and reflect upon. Um, I coming off of what you just read, as we spoke about earlier, the three of us, is some of the work that I'm currently doing right now in my profession. I'm an associate professor of special education in the urban teacher education department at IUPUI in Indiana. And I've been really kind of expanding my own research and thinking about ancestral lineages and cultural legacies. What has brought me into different spaces with the families of children with disabilities that I work with and collaborate with, and thinking about my own, one of the terms that we use a lot when we're working with or collaborating or working alongside others is this term positionality. And part of my positionality, who I am, is connected to remembering who I am and remembering who I am in relation to how I got here, and then sharing that in the research spaces, educational spaces that I'm in, to bring a sense of home, familiarity, inclusivity, equity into the spaces that I'm navigating every day. And one of the professors right now that I'm really attaching myself to in terms of her scholarship and work, and I'm going to share my screen and share her a little bit with all of you. Let me see if you can see this. Do you see her on the screen? Dr. Cynthia Dillard. And she does a lot of work with integrating Black womanism and spirituality into education. And she just came out with a book, and I'm going to share this book because she spoke about this book in a recent talk that she gave that I was really honored to be present in, like virtually. And and the book hasn't even come out yet. It's you need to pre-order it. But she talks about remembering, and I'm going to read a little bit about the book and kind of center the conversation around this idea of, and I love the image of the golden feather that's inside of us that we carry, because in a way, to me, that's the spirit that we remember within us. We just have to sometimes remember that it's there. But she has written a book that's coming out that's called The Spirit of Our Work, Black Women Teachers Remember. And in her discussion, she talked a lot about remembering as connected to her African roots. And much of what she spoke about had to do with her current work in Ghana, where she has spent time with a lot of women who have taught her the importance of oral history and how history is passed down through remembering story, remembering who we are as human beings in relation to the communities that we live in, and really carrying that into her work, because with the legacy of slavery, so many, including, I think, I can't speak for her, but so many of my dear friends who are Black, African American, can only stretch their lineage out so far before it is unknown. Not knowing what part of Africa their ancestors came from because of all the lack of documentation and a lot of the destruction that occurred because of slavery. And so I think it's a really important way of situating kind of who we are in today in 2020 or 2021, to think about our lineages and how we're connected, not only to our own families, but to our communities. And so she writes about, excuse me with my cough. She in this book, she argues that spirituality has guided Black people through the diaspora and demonstrates how Black women teachers and teacher educators can heal, resist, and remember their identities that are empowering for them and for their students. And she talks about how she brings her experiences in Ghana into her classrooms and ways that that helps to inform her practice and her and policies at a larger level now that she's a dean. I also wanted to share with you as well, and I'm just going to go to this screen here, that in my work lately, when I've talked about my own positionality, I'm so honored in my presentations that I can do this this day and age. Before, I wouldn't have felt comfortable doing this at research conferences or presentations, but now there is a movement among Black and Brown and people of color and other folks who are sharing their histories and herstories, the connection to their families and their lineages, to really put at the center how important it is to understand that when we are doing research, we're not doing research on other people, or we really are trying to disrupt that we're doing research with and alongside others. And that means you have to bring a humanizing perspective to your work, which again is linked to your own ancestry. So this particular slide I love, because I love talking about my identity and bringing in my Mexican, Irish, and Italian heritages and how they have shaped and influenced all of the ways of who I am in these different educational spaces. But it's also a way for me to kind of remember who I am, that I am Mexicana, that I am Italian, that I am Irish, and that all of those parts of me inform the work that I do in different spaces. So I wanted to share that, and as part of Remember, and kind of just bring it back to that.